Facebook and Instagram now allows hateful posts calling for violence against Russians. Vladimir Putin says that he sees nothing wrong with the USSR. German-Russian school in Berlin, Germany was vandalized. NATO will not be able to help Ukraine to close its airspace. If you've never seen how destructive artillery strikes look, what's up investors, it's the Russian Dude and this is your 15th day update on the Russian-Ukrainian war. After several hours of discussions, the leaders of European countries approved the Euro integration of Ukraine, which makes Ukraine next potential candidate to be a part of European Union. A big explosion was spotted earlier today in Lutsk, Ukraine. And because of this explosion, some factories were caught on fire. Another explosion in Dnieper, Ukraine was also earlier caught on camera. An unknown object fell from the sky in the capital of Croatia, Zagreb. Though later, the Prime Minister of Croatia, Andrej Plenković, said that this was a drone that was sent through the territory of Romania and Hungary. Facebook and Instagram now allows hateful posts calling for violence against Russians. Though Facebook representatives said that it will only apply to Russian soldiers and political leaders, which basically means that now it is perfectly legal to wish death to Putin as well as army of Russia. Because let's be honest, the history shows that the only correct way to respond to violence is even more violence. In response to Facebook and Instagram allowing calls to violence against Russians, Russia now banned the use of Instagram on its territory. And if you want to continue receiving such daily updates, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends or anywhere else you want. Thanks so much and let's continue. The president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, says that he sees nothing wrong with the USSR. He says that the USSR was always living under sanctions and yet it was still able to achieve great success. Following McDonald's and other fast food restaurants, Burger King has now also stopped doing business in Russia. The representative of European Union, Josep Borrell, said that promising NATO membership to Ukraine was a mistake. Previously, Russians were prohibited from taking more than $10,000 out of Russia. Later, this limit was reduced to $5,000. And because of this, more and more Russians are now using crypto to try and send money abroad. The Moscow Stock Exchange, which was closed all the way from February 28th, might start trading next week. Goldman Sachs says that the risks of recession happening in the United States are as high as 35%. As for now, Russia is not planning to ban WhatsApp, which is a part of Meta Group. The representatives of the World Bank say that Russian and Belarusian economies are very close to default. Yet Russia itself says that it will have no problems paying down its external debt because it has so many gold reserves. With the only one big problem is that some countries, such as for example the United States, are planning to freeze Russian gold, which is worth more than $130 billion. Which ironically means that the probability of Russian default now rests upon government officials from America. The presidents of Russia and Belarus, Vladimir Putin and Alexander Lukashenko, met earlier today, this Friday, in Moscow to discuss the situation on Ukraine. Earlier this week, MasterCard and Visa completely suspended all of its business activities in Russia. In response to that, Russian banks are now offering to open new accounts with Chinese payment system UnionPay. German-Russian school in Berlin, Germany, was vandalized and set on fire earlier today. Some lawyers in Russia are advising against using Facebook and Instagram ads, because even though Facebook and Instagram are blocked on the territory of Russia, you can still do your ads worldwide. And the reason why they advise against this, it is because you'll be financially supporting extremist organizations such as Meta, and for doing this you can definitely be prosecuted in Russia. Some Russian banks are now offering new credit cards with interest rates as high as 49.9%. Earlier this week, the US eased some of its sanctions against Venezuela so that it can continue supplying oil to the United States. And today, Canada acknowledged that it is also looking forward to sell its oil to America. Some European companies are already revising their next year financial forecasts. Since they will no longer do business with Russia, this will definitely affect their revenues. And the sector which is supposedly will be hit the most will be the financial sector, which on average is estimated to lose around 4.5% of its earnings. The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, said that unfortunately NATO will not be able to help Ukraine to close its airspace. And honestly, love it or hate it, NATO is in a very difficult position here. On the one hand, they can close the airspace and definitely help Ukraine, but on the other hand, this will mean that the more countries are now involved in this war, which can potentially lead to the World War III. So the decision here is between letting Ukraine be alone in this conflict with some financial and military support from different countries, or you do help Ukraine and provoke Russia even more. After the conflict on Ukraine Ukraine has started, more and more people from both Russia and Ukraine started using cryptocurrencies. YouTube has now blocked all Russian state-funded media channels globally. I mean, bullets, guns and missiles are the main means of any war, but at the same time, media is also a very big weapon in the war. Both sides are doing propaganda and there are fake news coming from both Ukraine and Russia. But whenever you block one side of the story, you leave no any other choice for people to follow the narrative dictated by just one side. Just like Elon Musk said that his Starlink won't block Russian news sources unless at gunpoint, which basically means give people both sides of the story and let them decide themselves what they want to believe in. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, signed an order banning supply of dollar bills to Russia. Here is another explosion that was spotted earlier today in Dnieper, Ukraine. If you've never seen how destructive artillery strikes look, this is the video showing you this up close. Vladimir Putin approved the proposal of the Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu to give weapons to the people of Donbass. And this includes any seized Ukrainian weapons, military equipment or military vehicles. According to the United Nations, as of today, there are approximately 2.5 million Ukrainian refugees who have left the country. Russian military is also distributing humanitarian supports to the residents of Ivankovsky Rayon, Ukraine. Soldiers in Syria are getting ready to be sent to Ukraine to support Russia. The residents of Dnieper, Ukraine are trying to leave the city by train. There was a protest earlier today in Berlin, Germany, against the discrimination of regular Russian people. They say that Russians are being threatened, cars are vandalized, and restaurants will not serve you if you're from Russia. Besides Russian adults, Russian kids in German schools are also getting discriminated, and not just by their peers, but by teachers as well. Nespresso also said that it will be closing all of its business in Russia, and here is the line of people trying to buy last Nespresso products. Thank you so much for your attention, stay safe, and see you next time.